So what are the major issues with time travel and possible pitfalls? Well, starting with the major problem, which is normally summarised by what is known as the grandfather paradox, which is fairly similar to a major theme in the film Back to the Future. In summary, the grandfather paradox is that if a time traveller travels back in time, meets their grandfather and kills them, this means that the time traveller can never be born. If can never be born, how can they travel back in time and kill their grandfather? This, of course, is an extreme example, but any changes that a time traveller makes in the past will affect future events, creating a new timeline, a new reality. There are possible ways of removing these issues with the paradox and still allowing time travel to be possible. It could either allow you to make it impossible to travel back down your own timeline. For instance, if you travel away from your location in a spaceship, travelling at high speed, anything you then affect will not be able to directly change your own timeline. Or if you travel back in time, you create a new alternative reality of the future which diverges from that point in the timeline. This leaves us how it might be possible to travel back in time. Again, there are several standard ways this can be happening. Most common of these is travelling faster than the speed of light, which doesn't have quite the dramatic change that some science fiction stories would have you believe. Instead, by travelling faster than the speed of light, what you can do is actually beat light to a specific location before the images or information actually reach that point. Looking back at the original point of that light source, you'll see the location appear to go back in time. So if you were instantly to travel 75 million light years away from Earth and look back at the Earth, you could see dinosaurs on Earth. But this doesn't mean that you have actually travelled back in time 75 million years. Next we have wormholes, which are theoretical tunnels in space linking two separate places which are brought together by the equivalent of a fold in space. So you have a tunnel going from one part to another, whereas space goes round the edge. Now, even if the exits of these tunnels are close together, travelling through normal space would be the long way round. There's a couple of problems with this. If the holes actually exist, they're going to be microscopic in size. And again, though you could look back to an earlier point in time, you still actually haven't travelled back in time. Now, black holes and gravity wells are the other space phenomena that give us hope. Now, even though the gravitational forces here distort time, this means that time appears to move forward at different speeds, but still no backwards time travel effect would actually happen. The other common mistake relating to the naming of the black hole probably is that you could actually travel through a hole to another location. This would actually be like passing through a super dense planet, only more so, and even if somehow you made it through, all that would happen is you'd emerge on the other side of that object. So, other than finding a large blue box, the only way of travelling in time appears to be forward into the unknown, where there's an infinite of possible futures ahead of us. But travelling backwards in time, not really likely.